Hello everyone and welcome to today's sessions, and today we will learn exception handling mechanism in more deep level. In our last sessions we learned how to handle our exceptions in Java and we use the try catch block. We'll use the same type of example and here we will learn more deep level. So you can see here I have also created another class different exceptions demo under the same package, and here under main method I have two integer variable where I will try to do some divisions operations. And I know from my last class that when this b is equal to 0, then there can be a chance of some unexpected behavior. So that's why this statement, this division statement, I have written under a try catch block so that I can handle the exceptions. Okay, so now my b is 5 and a is 20, so 20 divided by 5, that should be, expected behavior, and it should give me the result of 4. But if I change this one to 0, then you can see that it will throw an exceptions, and that exceptions come on line number 8. And once we receive any exception, that will basically come to this catch block, and here I have printed this message. This is basically something like exceptions and the ex showing me this one. So my exceptions is occurred because of this message that is basically divided by 0. Now if you notice carefully here, I am getting a java.lang arithmetic exceptions. So what is this? This is a inbuilt class in Java where actually this exceptions is handled. Now if you check this hierarchy, so this is nothing but the exception handling class that is inbuilt class in Java, and they basically form this type of hierarchy where we are using these exceptions under this catch block, right? And we are getting an error where you can see here the exceptions coming from arithmetic exceptions class and the message is divided by 0. So if you check here, so this is my arithmetic exceptions class and this is the grandchild of exceptions class, right? So you can see that I am using these exceptions which is basically the parent label. So instead of that, if I know which type of exceptions I can get from this business logic, so instead of making these exceptions which is top of this parent label, better to use this type of class. So for our case we can use arithmetic exceptions here instead of exceptions. So this is the best practice. Okay, so instead of exceptions, let put it arithmetic exceptions. So once you put the arithmetic exceptions here, you will get the same type of message when you run this one. So let's run this and see, you can get the same type of message. So it will always be good practice if you know which type of exceptions it can cause, so better use that type of exception. So for our case it's a arithmetic exceptions. So in this structure, this is not the concrete or the full structure. Here I have segregated few exact type of error handling class which you will mostly use in your programming or in your this sessions of class. But there are number of other complex hierarchy, that type of class you can also use, but these class are more enough to understanding your exception handling mechanism. So let's go one by one. So we just learn the arithmetic exception. So if anything cause, like let's say divided by 0, so this is a arithmetic exception type of operations of the situation. So that's why we are using this arithmetic exception under this catch block. Now let me comment this one and let's try to handle number format exceptions, how it will work. So let comment this part and let me double click here. Now our aim is to check a number format exceptions. So how it's work? So let's say I have a string variable name and its value is Arun. So this is my string variable whose value is Arun. Now if I want to convert that one in integer, that is not possible. That is an unexpected or abnormal behavior, right? So on that case you will get number format exception. So let's do it. Let's say I am creating a integer variable I, and I try to casting this name variable to integer type. So we know the syntax integer dot parseInt we can use, and under that I am actually passing the value Arun with this name variable, right? So if I try to run this program, it will definitely give me an error. So let's run it, and you can see I am getting an exceptions, and it says that number format exceptions, right? So similar way you can handle these exceptions using the try catch block, and you have to use under this catch block this type of class number format exceptions instead of baseline of the grandchild exceptions class. So you can maintain the best practice. So let's do that. So this is my try block. Under that I have written my logic, let's say, and then a catch block, and instead of exceptions we can use number format exceptions. Let's put the instance ex and create a system.out.println here, and let's print the exceptions. So this is the number format exception. So you can see that here I definitely get exceptions. Okay, so if your logic expect some this type of exceptions where these are basically number format type of exceptions, so you can simply use this type of class under this catch block. Okay, now if I run this, so you can get the error that is basically number format exceptions. Okay, and here the message is for input string Arun, this is getting the error, right? So you can also only get the message using the ex.getMessage methods. So if I run it, so you can only get the message which caused the error, that is basically this string Arun, because this is not expected. If we have this is a 10 value as a string, we can easily run that, and that will give you the integer value and pass that integer value. But if it's a instead of this type of number, if it's a name or any character, so definitely that will not convert in integer type, right? And it cause exceptions, and that type of exceptions basically handle under this type of class which is called number format exceptions. So this type of exceptions we can call as a number format exceptions. Now if I go to the this hierarchy again, so there is another type of exception. So let pass this one. Let's first check this one, null pointer exceptions. So let me again comment this, and then let's create a string variable, let's say s, and currently without putting any value like Arun, just make it a null string. So you can use the null keyword here. Now once it's a null, so you cannot use any type of string method here. So my s is null, and null dot, let's say I want the character at some index. Okay, let's say index 1. Okay, I want to check the character at 1 for this string, but this string is currently a null string. There is no existence of this s string. So if I try to do this one, that's mean it is nothing but null dot character at 1. Null means there is no existence of this string. Then how that method will work, right? So it will definitely not work, and if you try to run this, you will get a null pointer exception. See, so you can get a null pointer exceptions, and it says that cannot invoke string dot character at int because s is null. Okay, so similarly you can handle this type of business logic if you expect that can be possible. So you can simply use the try catch block here, and in catch block don't use the baseline or the grandchild exceptions class. Instead of that, simply use null pointer exceptions. Now you can print your message here, something like ex.getMessage. So once you do that, so that's mean your program can not terminate after these exceptions. If there is any other line of code, that will execute smoothly. So if I run it here, so you can see that I am getting a exceptions cannot invoke string character int because s is null. Okay, so this is basically my null pointer exceptions. Now the another one is called index out of bound exceptions, and under that the child is array index out of bound exceptions. So what is this array index out of bound exceptions? So we already learned the concept of array. So let me again comment this and let's try to create an array. So let's create an integer type of array and let's set its size as 3. So now my array name is AR and its size is 3. Now if you try to access array value which is not belongs under this size, then it will cause you a array out of bound exceptions. So if I try to print, let's say, array 4, okay, or you want to access array 4 under a integer variable, let's say number, and that number I am trying to collect from array 4. Okay, now you can see your size is 3 and you are trying to access the fourth element, so definitely that is not a normal behavior, right? So here you will get a exceptions, and that is nothing but array index out of bound exceptions, because your 4 is cross this limit, right? Because limit is 3. Now if I try to run this, you can get that type of exception. So you can see here array index out of bound exceptions, index 4 message is coming, index 4 out of bound for length 3. So similar way you can also handle this one using the try catch block, and instead of using the exceptions we can use array index out of bound exceptions, and we can simply print the message. So now if I try to run this, you can get the exact message here that index 4 out of bound for length 3, because my size is 3, array size is 3, and I am trying to access which is not available under these limits, right? So that's why I am getting array index out of bound exceptions. So this way you can create or handle multiple error conditions which you think that it can be caused in your business logic. So you can use that type of concrete error handling class instead of using the top level exceptions class. So hope you understand when to use arithmetic exception, when to use number format exceptions, when to use array index out of bound exceptions, when to use null pointer exceptions. And if you use exceptions, this class, the baseline class, you can also handle all these things. But best practice, if you already know which type of exception can be caused from your business logic, better use the concrete handling class. Okay,
I believe this video has helped you to understand about the topic. Thank you for watching. Please do subscribe, click on the bell notifications and select all so that you don't miss any video from this channel.